Hello everyone, this is the Beeve coming back at you again. I wanted to make a little add to a build that we had went over in the past. I went over my Pet Sorc build and showed you a couple things that you could do to make it a little bit better. And I went over some of the not so hard gear to get in there. So what I want to do now is go over the build that I actually run and show you the type of damage that it can do. So, first off, character screen. I am running 42,000 max Magicka, 19,000 max health, 10,000 maximum stamina. Recoveries are 740 Magicka, 830 or 383 health and 616 on stamina. Yes, that magic recovery is low, but I am using a heavy attack rotation with this Pet Sorc, and he has really good sustain because of it. You'll see that in the skeleton parse that we do. Spell damage 2468 with a 32.8 spell critical. When I hit my spell power pots, that goes to 42.8, so it does raise it a little bit right there. So let's see here. Max Magicka, or my attributes, I have everything in Magicka, nothing in health, nothing in stamina. I am running my Twilight, and I am running my Volatile Familiar. I am using the Shadow Mundus Stone for bonus crit damage, and Double Bloody Mara as my food. The Double Bloody Mara provides a lot of maximum health and a lot of maximum Magicka. Inventory-wise, before when we went over this, we had the Spell Strategist and Necropotent set. The only thing we've really... Oh, and I think a Lumbrus. The only thing we've really changed here is that we are front barring the Maelstrom Lightning Staff, which allows us to do more light and heavy attack damage to anything that's inside of our Wall of Elements. Still using Spell Strategist. Now I'm back barring Spell Strategist, so on my front bar, I'm not getting the Spell Strategist bonus, so I'm only using it on the back bar. So, any of my single target damages that I have on my bars, like my, the only one I really have is the Crystal Fragments, and I always make sure that I'm using those on the back bar after I've light attacked, so that I'm getting that bonus 500 spell damage and the 129 spell damage from the 4-piece set that I'm missing as well from front barring that Maelstrom Staff. I am using the Zaun Mask. The Zaun comes out of the Scale Color Peak dungeon. It is a little bit of a pain in the butt, very mechanic-heavy dungeon, but it is something that me and the Flower can help you guys get through once you are high enough level and have the ability to do so. We can help you get through it. So everything else, I'm still wearing the Necropotence, which gives me a lot of max Magicka for having a pet out. And I have Bloodthirsty on all 3 pieces of my jewelry. My skills, very similar to before: Blockade of Storms, Liquid Lightning, Volatile Familiar, Summon Matriarch Twilight, Crystal Fragments on the front bar, Greater Storm Atronach. The Crystal Fragments that I have on my front bar, this is just here for this proc capability. When casting any other magic ability, it has a 35% chance of causing your next Crystal Fragments to be instant, deal 20% more damage, and cost 50% less Magicka. I am only leaving this here so that when anything I do on the front bar has a chance to proc that, so when I switch to my back bar, where it's at here as well, this is where I'm going to use it, so not hitting that on the back bar. On my back bar, I have my Volatile Familiar, my Daedric Prey, which is a really big, explosive damage when it goes off, 11,512 magic damage, and allows my pets to deal 40% more damage. This includes my Store Matronach. He gets that 40% buff as well, as long as this is active on the target that he's attacking. Crystal Fragments once again, and you'll see when I go from front bar to back bar has a little bit more damage on it as well. Now after I go through and, you know, apply all my my spell strategist and applying my weapon and spell damage glyph from my front bar, obviously this is going to go up in damage as well. Once again, Twilight on the back bar, and I do have Endless Fury right here just for a execute capability. The Sorc does not have the best execute, in my opinion. It's pretty weak, and it doesn't start until 20% health, which kind of sucks. It will restore Magicka if you use this to kill an enemy with as well. So that is one of the better benefits of it, I guess you could say, when you have it morphed to Endless Fury. I do have Thunderous Rage on the back bar as well, which is the Destro Staff Ultimate. I have all of my ticks in Dark Magic, all of my ticks in Daedric Summoning, all of my ticks in Storm Calling. Destruction Staff, once again, all of my ticks there as well. Everything ticked out in Light Armor. Nothing in Medium. I even have my Heavy Armor stuff ticked out here. It doesn't provide a whole lot, but it's something a little bit more when it comes to max health. I probably could put some ticks in, see, that's not going to do me any good. Stamina recovery, I guess I'd be okay for PvP or if I'm running around a lot. And sneak, I don't sneak a whole lot either, so. Fighters Guild, I do have my Banish the Wicked. I'm not running any other Fighters Guild abilities, so I don't have anything else ticked in there. Mages Guild, I have this clear to a 10, and I could put some ticks here in the Might of the Mage, or Might of the Guild, but I'm not using any Mages Guild abilities, so there's no use in me having it there. I do have my Undaunteds ticked all the way. My High Elf is, I got all my passives in my High Elf as well. And in my Alchemy, I make sure that I do have my medicinal use, so that my potions are doing the max amount of duration that they possibly can do. Champion points real quick, like I have 40 points in Warlord, 75 Arcanist, 75 Tenacity, 72 Tumbling, 8 Shadow Ward. In the red tree, we got 64 Hardy, 64 Elemental Defender, 66 Thick Skinned, 72 Ironclad, 4 in Spell Shield, just because I had 4 points to burn. Now, your blue tree is where you're going to do, you know, your red tree is for mitigating damage, your green tree is for mitigating cost, and your blue tree is where you are increasing damage done. So first off, 75 points in Thaumaturge to get 23% more damage with your damage over time abilities. That's enough points to unlock this exploiter, which gives me a bonus 10% damage to any enemy that I set off balance. And since I am using a lightning staff, I set things off balance. 35 in Staff Expert, 40 in Master at Arms, which also, you know, having that 75 points in there gives me an increase damage to enemies that are under 25% with my light and heavy attacks. So little bit more damage when it comes to execute phase. Not a whole lot, but it's a little bit more. Spell Erosion, I have 20. Elemental Defender, 49. Elfborn, 51. Alright, so now rotation with this one here. How I like to do this is it's going to be light attack, blockade, light attack, liquid lightning, bar swap, light attack, Daedric Prey, light attack, summon volatile familiar, bar swap, fully charged heavy attack, start over. Now, the only way this gets different is that if any point in time my crystal fragments proc, like I said, if it happens on the front bar, I'm not using it on the front bar. If it happens on the front bar, I will bar swap back, and crystal fragments will be the first ability that I use. So if it procs on the front bar, it'll be light attack, blockade, light attack, liquid lightning, bar swap, light attack, crystal fragment, light attack, Daedric Prey, light attack, summon volatile familiar, activate pet, bar swap, fully charged heavy attack, and start over. Now, anytime on that back bar that this procs, the crystal fragment procs, I will use it. There are situations sometimes where, like, it'll proc on the front bar, it'll proc after Daedric Prey, and then it'll even proc after summon, after I activate my pet, to where I hit him with this crystal fragments 3 times on the back bar. If I ever do that, if I get to the point to where I call that out 3 times in a row, or 3 times on my back bar, I will skip my heavy attack just to make sure that I'm laying back down all of my dots, because by the time I'm doing my heavy attack, my blockade's falling off at that point. I'm not getting the bonus damage for my light and heavy attack, so a lot of times I'll just skip that heavy attack and just go right back into laying down my blockade and liquid lightning. So it's a little bit more dynamic of a rotation, but not anywhere near like a stamina rotation. I mean, it's still very, very easy to accomplish. So with that being said, let's real quick hit this 3 million dummy. Alright, so first and foremost, I'm going to apply Elemental Susceptibility. This is just the same thing a tank applies when they pierce armor, when they do their puncture ability, or pierce armor ability. It just applies Major Breach, reducing the spell resistance of the target by 5,280. So, and with this particular morph, anytime I deal damage, it refreshes the maximum duration of this, which lasts for 23 seconds. So as long as I'm doing damage on this target, this keeps refreshing, so I don't have to keep reapplying it. So what I do is, I apply it now, go back in, put my elemental blockade back on, and then after I start this, as long as I keep that up, as long as I keep damage up, this will stay up. So, let's go ahead and run through this real quick. No crystal fragment proc, so right back to the heavy attack. Crystal fragment proc twice on that back bar that time. Not a big fan of how much latency and lag this creates when you are trying to stream and do a skeleton parse at the same time. It's skipping a good bit of my light attacks, unfortunately. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and execute now here, just to get this over with real quick. Alright, so that one right there, 45,891. I am not going to be happy with those numbers, so we're going to go again. Do I have the right potions on? I do, okay. So, right there you got 45,891. The latency kind of skipped a lot of my my light attacks, unfortunately, so that put a little damper on the DPS. So let's reapply and go one more time. Not getting a whole lot of shard procs in the last one as well, and there again, skip the light attack. much better numbers that time right there. 49,011.4. Much better numbers. You'll see that when I hit that execute right there, it does help go through a good bit of Magicka. I didn't finish this parse with nearly as much Magicka as you've seen me do in the past, and with the previous build, and that's because instead of continuing the rotation and using my heavy attacks, I'm spamming that execute to finish that parse off really quick. Now, if I were to travel out of here and go pick up the Lover Mundus Stone for more physical and spell penetration with this character, you'd see that number hit probably 52 to 53k. But when I'm on this character, it's normally when I normally run this character, I am with the Flower, who is using her tank that has all Kosh. So I don't need that Lover Stone. She's applying all the major debuffs that I need between the all Kosh, the minor fracture and breach, and major fracture and breach. So I don't need that Lover Stone, and that's where that Shadow Mundus Stone actually shines even more, because I'm getting that better penetration and the bonus crit damage. Now, I could go with something, I could go with like a Max Magicka Stone in that situation, increase my tooltip numbers. I could also go with a spell damage to increase my spell damage numbers. Either one are going to be negligible in my opinion, but those right there are the kind of numbers that you can see with a build like this that I have right here. Now, yes, I am 810, so that does add into a lot right there. But as a lot of people know at this point, there are a lot of things, especially Sorc-wise, that are going to be nerfed coming up in a couple days, maybe even tomorrow. Like there is patchwork coming tomorrow. The servers say that the patchwork is they're not stating that it's the actual dungeon with update 23, but they're not stating it isn't either. So I'm not sure if tomorrow is just normal maintenance or if it's time for us to actually get the patch. So with it being in the private test server right now and only having been there a week, I don't think we're getting it yet. I think it's just normal patchwork, but we will see, because I don't think they've released when it's supposed to come out. But just in case anyone watches this, I don't want you to be surprised by tomorrow when you jump on. You might see some changes real quick. I don't think it's going to be tomorrow, but it may be. But with this patch coming, yes, they are going to be nerfing some damage to make some balance changes in the game. And we have a lot of people that I run with that are like super bummed about these nerfs that are coming, and rightfully so. It does suck that they are nerfing things, but you do have to take into consideration that they're trying their best to, in my opinion, talking to a guy that I normally run with, he was referring to the fact that some of the nerfs that they did are gonna cause less algorithms to go off and less animations to go off, hopefully. And maybe we'll see a little bit better of a response time when it comes to the game itself. I seriously doubt it, but that's what I'm hoping for. Now, the nerfs that they're bringing through themselves, like I got a lot of people and a lot of different guilds that are moaning and complaining about it, and yes, it does suck. It really does. One of the things that they're doing, they're already trying to come up with different things that they're going to do, which is great. It really is. People are already thinking ahead, which is a great thing to do. The problem with that is that I hear too many people that are, already talking about using abilities that they've already started putting them on and using them, foregoing what they already have. And some of the ones that they're using, like I've heard people talk about, they're going to start using Daedric Mines instead of Liquid Lightning because it's getting a nerf. And I don't understand that. Like, okay, so Daedric Mine does 9,618 damage and immobilizes the target for 2 seconds. They've already said with this patch, you're not going to be able to get them to hit. You know, a target is not going to be able to step on 2 of them or all 3 of them at a time. It's just going to be 1 at a time. So 9,000 damage for almost 4,600 Magicka is a ridiculous price for all the more damage that is. Now, if you have a tank that's willing to drag them through all 3, then maybe it's good. But even with the nerf that is coming to the, like, Liquid Lightning, like, they say it's going to be a 33% nerf. Okay, so 33% is about 900 damage off of this right here. Maybe, let's even say 1,000. So 2,100 instead of 3,100 on this for 12 seconds. When you are 4 to 5 seconds into this, you've already done more damage than one of those mines, and you have literally spent 2/3 of the Magicka to do it, and it's going to keep going at that point as well. So this is still going to be a good damage dealer, just not as good as it was. People are freaking out about these nerfs, and I just don't. You know, I think people are jumping the gun on them. I want to see people that keep the builds the way they have them, wait for the patch to come, and see the type of numbers that they're getting out of it. Now, I'm going to be completely honest, there is a good possibility that my Twilight's going to go away because they are really nerfing the damage from the Twilight. Like 69% per tick, which is huge. It really is. But, I mean, it is what it is at this point. It really is. I mean, I don't know what other way to describe it. I mean, it's still going to do damage. It still has good healing purposes. It's just going to be not as good of damage as it used to be. You'll probably see me get rid of this Twilight, and I may just go to having a Inner Light back on my bar at all times, or Bound Aegis back on my bar at all times, just for the extra Magicka, and we're still going to pull pretty decent numbers at that rate. Don't really want to take up any more of your time at this point, guys. Thank you very much. Thanks for listening to me rant. I appreciate it greatly. If you guys want to see more videos like this in the future, definitely like this and get back at me in the guild that you'd like to see some more, or some others that you would like to see. As soon as this patch hits, I'm going to be working extensively on what the changes are, what we need to change out, if we need to change anything out. You know, if I have a difference of if I'm getting a difference in damage of like 3,000 or 4,000 damage per second, I may switch things out a little bit to see what, you know, where they're going or how other things perform. But if it doesn't go down much more than that, like if I have this build out, this build still hits for 46 or 47k, I'm probably not going to change it. It's not that huge of a nerf. I mean, it's still a massive amount of damage to be doing to things. So you know, it's going to have to be a really bad overall damage nerf for me to change things. But thank you guys very much for everything you do. Appreciate it greatly. If there's something you want to see, get back at me. But until then, guys, have a wonderful day.